Hello everyone. Just posted the top 5 most misunderstood villains video to YouTube, and since it's not a true top 10, I figured I'd still do another top 10, and I'd stick with that same sort of theme of the villains, but this time I'm going the opposite direction. Instead of doing the top 5 misunderstood villains, I'm doing the top 10 most evil villains. These are just, there is no good side to their story. There's no, okay, well, maybe they're just bad guys. Now, since this is such a broad topic, there had to be some criteria for this list. Now, again, I got the list here, but I decided to completely exclude all horror movies and all slasher flicks. So no Chucky, no Jason, no Nightmare on Elm Street, none of that stuff. Because those are just too easy and it's a cop-out basically. I also had the criteria of they must be human or nearly human. And by that I mean they can't be like robots designed by someone else. They have to have the conscious good versus evil thought. So that excluded iRobot and the Terminator movies from my list. And I did that because, like I said, for me, when someone's truly evil, it's when they know what good and bad is and not just they're programmed to be one or the other. So, starting off the list, we have Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, I know she's not the prototypical villain, there's a bad guy, let me kill the bad guy, there's innocent people, let me kill innocent people, but she's just a bitch. Just straight up bitch. I mean, she goes out of her way to make people's lives hell, and in some cases, it actually ends up with their death. In multiple cases, actually. You had Billy, who went so crazy that he ended up killing himself, and then you had McMurphy at the end, who tried to choke her out because she was that much of a bitch. It was right after Billy had died that he tries strangling her to death, which we were all clapping for, and of course he doesn't kill her, unfortunately. She ends up just getting away, and then McMurphy is lobotomized, gets part of his brain chopped out. So awesome, she's such a good person, isn't she? But luckily there is some nice happy ending to it for how much being brain dead can be happy, where Chief smothers him with the pillow and he goes off to Happy Land. But she's still a bitch and she's still evil. Number 9, this is the only Disney movie, I promise. It's Frollo from The Hunchback. Now, the reason he's so evil on the list is because it's like he's just that messed up. He's a judge who's really rapey, like seriously rapey in a Disney movie. And in his mind, he's like, okay, there's this woman that I want to rape. So instead of raping her, I'm gonna kill her. Which is just like that's both ends of just wrong. There's the murder and there's the rape. He's like, well, I can't do one, so I might as well do the other. Number 8, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. This guy is a badass villain. I gotta say, I liked him better than the hero. Well, the hero, there wasn't really a hero. It was all about drugs and stealing and stuff. But he was badass. He would just walk around, sometimes go Two-Face style and flip a coin to determine if people were going to die. Sometimes he would just take a maul, the thing they used to kill cattle, and just stick it to someone's forehead, and boom, then they're dead. He was just a badass, and he didn't care. He was just one of those guys like, yeah, okay, you're going to die now. So that's why he's on the list. Number 7, we have Keyser Söze from The Usual Suspects. Major, major, major spoiler alert here. Kevin Spacey starts the movie as Verbal Kint, a cripple who has been granted immunity from the police to basically rat out all of his criminal buddies. Now, the whole movie goes on, and he's telling the whole story of everybody, and then at the end of the movie, you find out that he is actually the main bad guy. Throughout the whole movie, you hear about this Keyser Söze guy that he's describing, which is just this amazingly murderous man, the pure evil of everybody, and he's Keyser Söze. And the best part about the movie is you find out at the end he completely bullshitted almost all of the story. He came up with the name of a lawyer, Kobayashi, because it was on the bottom of the dude's coffee mug that he was drinking. He was telling stories based on news articles and police articles that were on a bulletin board behind him. And you just look at that and you're like, damn, that's awesome. So that's why he's on the list. Number 6, another Kevin Spacey one. It's John Doe from the movie Seven. I love this movie. It's got Brad Pitt, it's got Morgan Freeman, and it's got Kevin Spacey, obviously. He plays this super, super psychotic man who kills people based on the 7 deadly sins. It's one murder for each sin. Another big spoiler alert. At the end, you find out he kills Brad Pitt's wife, chops her head off, puts it in a box, and just completely fucks up the entire story. The first time I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that just happened. And that's also where one of the famous, now Vine famous 2 lines, "What's in the fucking box," comes from. It's from that movie, and it's a great movie. Top 5, starting off the top 5, we have Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs. He is another one of those guys who's just crazy fucking psychotic. What he did in that movie, if you haven't seen it, which I highly advise you do, is he would abduct sort of heftier women. He would put them in what looked like a well and starve them, along with forcing them to put on lotion, so it kept their skin loose but still soft. And then he would skin them so he could make his own woman suit, so he could kind of have his own like Frankenstein style sex change. It's a great movie. He's messed up. I mean, like, beyond messed up. If you don't think he's messed up from what I just told you, you are messed up. But he plays a great villain. And it's kind of weird for him to play other roles. He's also one of the detectives in the TV series Monk, and it's really hard to go from one to the other. So just the fact that it's like hard to picture him in other roles makes him that much of an evil villain. That's the only person you can think of. Number 4, Darth Vader. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why is he number 4? He is pure evil, and he is. He's a kid murdering freaking psychopath. But you have to remember, he turns good at the end. Spoiler alert. But that's just, for me, that's automatic exclusion from the top 3. I'm sorry. Darth Vader is an evil, 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 evil man most of the time. And it's that most of the time that makes him number 4 instead of any higher. But I don't need to go on the huge list of all the evil things he's done. He deserves a top 5 spot. Some people think he deserves a number 1 or a number 2, but for me it's a number 4 just because he turns good. Number 3, going back to The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter. Not the only movie that the Hannibal Lecter character is in, but it's one of my favorites. It's played very, very well almost every time it's in a movie, and he's just this messed up cannibal who's also a genius. He's a doctor, and he's a genius. And little Easter egg here, that little slurping sound he made in The Silence of the Lambs, that was improvised. He had no direction on doing that. He just walked up to her and did that weird freaky ass sound that kind of set the stage for his freakiness in that movie. But ultimately he ends up eating faces and getting away, and we have to assume eating another person by the end of the movie. So he's quite evil. Number 2, Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. Now that's where the sort of nearly human part comes in with the whole Darth Vader and the Voldemort thing, but they still know what right and wrong is. And he just loves being bad. He missed, well, he didn't miss. He couldn't kill Harry the first time, so he goes on this whole 8-movie, 7-book adventure trying to kill Harry Potter. And if you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies, or you haven't read the Harry Potter books, I like them. They're pretty good, and you get to see truly how messed up he is. By the way, acted very, 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 very well in the movies. You really get to feel for how messed up he is. And by the end of it, you actually get to see not his weaker side in terms of he's turning good, but his weaker side in terms of he's starting to realize that maybe it's not possible to kill Harry. So I strongly advise you to see those, and he's a great villain. Number 1, there was no question for me at all. It's the Joker from the Batman series. From the entire Batman franchise, even. I mean, there's just millions and millions and millions of instances where this guy is just pure evil. Whether you like the Nicholson version, whether you like the Ledger version, whether you like the cartoons, whether you like the books or the comics, whether you like the games, no matter what source of material you're getting the Joker from, he is freaking evil. Now, my personal favorite is the Heath Ledger version. I think he's just amazing. The casting for that was incredible. And he is just so evil. The reason why he's number one is because he loves being evil. There's like, he realizes he can be good, but he's like, screw that, being evil is just too much fun. I like killing people. It's messed up. And he screws with Batman, which is pretty cool. Makes him break his own like number one rule of not killing people, where he says, okay, you can go rescue that person and that person will die, or you can rescue that person and that person will die. And he's just sitting there like, yep, I just did that shit. And he's happy about it. And one of my favorite scenes is actually when he's hanging off the building and he's talking to the Batman, saying why they can't kill each other. It's a great scene. I'm not going to try to quote it because I'll probably screw it up, but I strongly advise you to see that in The Dark Knight. It is awesome. So, another thing actually with the Joker is if you think about the way Heath Ledger died, that's a total Joker way of killing somebody. He overdosed on antipsychotic medicine because he went batshit crazy trying to play the Joker. So, in a way, the Joker ended up killing Heath Ledger, who was the Joker. So the Joker was so bad he ended up killing himself, kinda. Just food for thought there. Anyway, that's the top 10 most truly evil villains list. Next top 10 list, I'll try to stay away from villains and all that stuff. We'll see what else comes up. Anyway, comment if you like this, comment if you don't, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.